Did you see the script for episode 10? They have me shooting this steel plate from 10 feet away.
Did you see it yet?
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. The props department just dropped it off. It's a half-inch thick AR500 steel plate, mounted to some wood contraption. They probably had a hand model glued together earlier.
Why are you telling me?
Why am I telling you? Because you're my agent. I want you to tell the producer this is the last time I'm risking my life for the show, or I want a new contract. Why couldn't I do an easy unboxing video for once? Hello, welcome to the Tiny Ballistics Lab. I'm actually really excited about today's episode, and I'm sure I'll be fine. If I was able to upload this video to YouTube, I'm sure I didn't die making it. All kidding aside, shooting steel targets, even with real firearms, is very popular and generally considered safe. Most people mount their steel targets to something that allows it to move and absorb momentum, like this mini Gong. Also, facing the steel down towards the ground is widely accepted as safer than facing it toward the shooter. This is what we'll be testing first, then we'll push the boundaries of what is considered a safe way to shoot steel. Don't go anywhere. This piece of half-inch AR500 steel is 4 inches across. Here I use a custom stencil to paint the target in red. Next I measure and cut some 1.5 by 3/4 inch pine. We'll use this wood to make the Gong stand in just a moment. Here I'm situating the pieces on a graph board so they're nice and square. Next I hot glue the pieces together before drilling the holes and screwing the pieces together. I like to use hot glue because it sets up fast and makes all the other steps a lot easier. I'm drilling the large holes for the Gong hardware. I'll be using quick links instead of chain. Now I hang the Gong and tighten the quick links, and we're all set. We're almost ready to test, but first I want to make a tray out of 28 gauge galvanized steel and a foam board insert. This will show us what happens to the pellet after it hits the steel plate. I'm going to slide this whole thing under the Gong in just a second. We will start by shooting a heavy .177 caliber airgun pellet made of lead. Lead is a lot softer than the steel target and is not likely to ricochet. So I'm going with the 16 grain Barracuda Magnum by H&N Sport. The test rifle will be a Benjamin Phoenix Nitro Piston 2. And here we go! That heavy lead slug stayed mostly intact, only a couple little pieces flew off. Put a big dent in the foam board, but it didn't go through. The steel didn't have a mark. Here's what's left of the pellet. I added a new foam insert. Now we're all set to test again. I'm going to continue shooting lead, but this time with a much lighter 7.7 grain H&N lead ball. Whoa, that's so cool! The lead ball burst into 1,000 pieces. And even the tiniest pieces went right through the foam board. Here's what's left of those tiny little copper-coated cannonballs. So it turns out shooting a properly set up gong with lead pellets is relatively safe. But what if instead of a swinging gong, we mount ours to a sturdy wood frame that I cut at a 45-degree angle? I want to be able to observe what happens to the pellets after they ricochet off the 45-degree steel plate. So I made a tiny rack that holds 3 pieces of sheet metal. In this case, I loaded it with 2 36 gauge pieces of aluminum and 1 28 gauge piece of steel in the back. We'll shoot the same 2 pellets we shot earlier, starting with the Barracuda Magnum. The first sheet of aluminum caught the pellet. There it is. Probably didn't go through the aluminum because it flattened out so big after hitting the steel gong. You can see where the edges of the pellet came into contact with the rifling in the barrel. Since I didn't actually puncture the aluminum, I'm going to use the sheets again. Now the H&N lead ball once more. I can already see the high-speed particles went right through the first sheet. There are several holes smaller than grains of sand. Let's try a non-lead pellet now. This exotic-looking Hungarian polyrhino is actually only 40% metal, and they only weigh 3.4 grains. I was sure that composite pellet was going to vaporize, but it didn't. It stayed more intact than the lead pellets. It basically just broke in two. I'm flipping the sheets upside down so the bottoms will be fresh. Let's do steel versus steel with this last pellet. The Gamma Lethal has a steel plug at the tip. Wow, it knocked over the gong. It also went through the first layer of aluminum, the second layer of aluminum, then it scraped into the wood before finally crashing into the steel backplate. It put a nice little ding in it too. Now, just for fun, I thought it would be cool if I replaced one of the quick links with some wire. Now I'm gonna try to shoot it. Hey, there's the VW from episode 8. Before you go, stick around for some macro shots of the gong. Thank you for watching. Click on the Tiny Ballistics Lab icon right now to subscribe. It's completely free and you'll be notified when I release new episodes. I'm sure you'll love this other video on my channel. Click on it right now.